Thank you for the conclusion of Professor Zachary, because it is the beginning of my talk. When I prepared this presentation, and when I finished my presentation, I had roughly 2 hours of presentation. So it was awful, and then I take off a lot of things, and I am trying to do something very brief, very schematic, but very important for the future of future university. As you know, today, the accelerating development of knowledge, the continual emergence of new technologies and new forms of management are among the most striking challenges facing organizations. Technology advancement continues to drive economic growth and in some cases unleash disruptive change. What is a disruptive technology? Economically disruptive technologies transform the way we live and work, enable new business models, and provide for new players to upset the established order. They create new opportunities or shift surplus of businesses and drive growth or change comparative advantage for nations. It is like in a race. You know, in a race you have one at the front, second after, and until the last one at the end. But if something happened and you stop the race, then you start again the race, all the competitors are at the same place another way. That is to say, the competitive advantage you have before has disappeared. And this is the situation where we are today. We have a lot of disruptive technologies changing everything. And it is extraordinary because even you have never been involved in technology, you can become a good technologist. I am going to show to you all examples of what happened with a smartphone. Automation of knowledge work. You see also the number of million knowledge workers in 2012 and all the impact of this knowledge worker on the society. The Internet of Things, I am going to develop it in a moment, so don't worry about it. Cloud technology and big data, this is important, as you can see it. Advanced robotics, manufacturing and surgery. In the medical field, surgery, robotics is very important. And you will see for Industry 4.0, this is one important thing. Autonomous and near-autonomous vehicles. You have heard about it. You will have a lot of change due to this. Next generation genomics. Which is funny is that to complete the first human genome, it takes 30 years, it costs a lot of money. Tomorrow, with $100, you will have your own genome without any problem. And you know, if you know your genome, you can predicate many things about your health. Advanced materials. You see the price of the nanotubes has come down, and the strengths of this material are bigger than the steel. New energies. As you see with the solar, photovoltaic, with also wind power and so on. And you have now, for the first time, in the south of Morocco, a factory called No 1, and No 1 is producing 160 megawatts only by solar. And before, the most important factory was in Spain, called La Africana, and only 50 megawatts. So you see the change of the... Thank you. Thank you. Energy storage, this is important, as you know, and well. And another point, 3D printing. I shall say something about 3D printing in a moment. Advanced oil and gas exploration and recovery. You know, the first producer of gas in the world was Saudi Arabia. And the first producer of gas was Qatar. Now, the first producer to do this innovation are in North America. So you see, because of disruptive technology, there is a great change. Augmented reality. You will see example in a moment. Participative innovation. You know, this morning we have our board of trustees, but in the future it could be possible to have each month a board of trustees by internet and by discussion and by innovative discussion. So now I come to Industry 4.0. This is very important. As Dr. Zachary said, it is important, and why it is important. It is probably, I am going to start with some definition. We define Industry 4.0 as the next phase in the digitization of the manufacturing sector, driven by 4 disruptions. Astonishing rise in data, volume, computation. This is the first. The second is emergence of analytics and business intelligence capabilities. The third is new forms of human-machine interaction, such as augmented reality system. And the fourth is improvement in transferring digital instruction to the physical world, such as advanced robotics, RFID, and 3D printing. RFID is radio frequency identification display. It's a little tag, and this tag is able to be recognized by a computer and follow an object, a person, or something, or what you want. Most of these digital technologies have been brewing for some time. Some are not yet ready for application at scale, but many are now at a point where the greater reliability and lower cost are starting to make sense for industrial application. However, companies are not constantly aware of the emerging technologies. In a survey of 300 manufacturers leaders in January 2015, last year, only 40% of the manufacturers consider themselves ready for Industry 4.0. I am going to give you an example of each disruptive trend in Industry 4.0. The first example is a logistic company which developed a picking technology using augmented reality. Pickers were a headset that present important information on a see-through display, helping them to locate items more quickly and precisely, and with both handed. They can build stronger and more efficient pallets with fragile items safeguarded. This is an example. A second example is a motor car which builds almost entirely through 3D printing with a design crowdsourced from an online community. Imagine you have a community and you ask permanently what they like, and you introduce this in the computer. And in this case, two companies are doing this, General Motors and Vauxhall, and by prototyping with using a 3D printing, they can design a car in 1 year instead of 6 years by the normal way. I have a lot of other examples. I have no time to present it. So I am now speaking about frade printing. All the Industry 4.0 is possible because of frade printing. You have here presented all which is done, which is possible with 3D printing. Which is funny, is that the first patent of 3D printing was created in 1984. That is to say, 32 years ago. And the inventor was a French one. When he makes the invention, he went to CNRS, the National Center of Scientific Research in France, and he said to his boss, "I have something extraordinary." And his boss said, "No interest." So everything was stopped. 2 years after, there was another patent in 1986, and this time the patent was an American patent, and now the company which was at the origin of this patent is the biggest in the world for the 3D printing. And the 3D printing, the principle is like your inkjet printer. Instead of the ink, you have a powder, and you can design what you want with a 3D printing. So, with this example, you can see that it is impossible now to teach to students the traditional industry. And that is the reason why at this moment two countries in the world are working very strongly on these topics, United States and Germany. The most advanced now is Germany. They have a plan called Industry 4.0 from 2013 until to 2020, and they use to do this RFID, 3D printing, advanced robotic, digital and analytics. Why this happens today? Because during roughly 30 years, the computer and the digital knowledge were not enough to drive 3D printing. Now it's quite different. And this is the reason why there is a very huge development of this technology. And Barack Obama has created 15 institutes in the United States to develop this. Chinese people at this moment, they understand that this is very important. And if they want to be on the race, they have to do something. And you know what they are doing? They are trying to buy the biggest robotic company in Germany in order to keep all the technology in Germany. But Germany, they don't want it, of course. So this is one thing very important. Industry 4.0 and 3D printing. And here, you can say 3D printing is not here for students. In Togo, there is a company printing electronic devices by 3D printing. And it's a very good company. So this is open to everybody. And a 3D printer is not very expensive. So I come now to information analysis, which is also a very important change in the world. As you see, Eric Schmidt, the president of Google, no, not the president, was a member from Google, said recently, every 2 days we create as much information as we did from the dawn of civilization until 2003. Each 3 days, you see the amount of information. And you can see, also, I have quote the number of published academic papers. And you can see it is exponential. But you can think that it is important. But there is something much more important than this. And this is the Internet of Things. As you know, in most organizations, information travels along familiar routes. Proprietary information is lodged in databases and analyzed in report and then rises up the management chain. Information also originates externally, gathered from public sources, harvested from the internet, or purchased for information suppliers. But, and this is very important, the predictable pathways of information are changing. The pathway, the physical world itself is becoming a type of information system. This is the revolution. Yeah, it is these things is what we call the Internet of Things. Sensors and actuators embedded in physical objects, from roadways to pacemakers, are linked through wired and wireless network, often using the same Internet protocol that connects the Internet. This network churn out huge volume of data that flow to computers for analysis. When objects can both sense the environment and communicate, they become tools for understanding complexity and responding to it swiftly. What is revolutionary in all this is that these physical information systems are now beginning to be deployed, and some of them work largely without human intervention. And we can see a lot of emerging application. I have no time to develop all the application. I am going only to give two applications. The first one is with your smartphone. Suppose tomorrow you receive on your smartphone a message from Google saying, do you want a personal insurance contract half of the price what you are paying today? So, of course, I am interested. Yes, but to do this, you have to accept the conditions. What are the conditions? First condition, the localization of your smartphone. This is very easy. It's what happens every day. The second condition, you accept to give the accelerometer information to Google. You say, oh, no matter. But with these two information, Google knows everything about your life. They know if you make sports or not, where you live, you travel or not, you have a good health or not, and so on and so on. So it is possible for Google to have good contracts, good insurance contract for you, and to deny good contract to those who are risky persons. This is one example. The second one is in the airplane industry. When you take a plane, in your plane you have engines. This engine now, in all cases, they are rented by the company to the producer of engines. They are not bought. In this case, if you want to have a good contract between Rolls-Royce or Pratt & Whitney and Qatar Airways or a company, it is necessary to have a good evaluation of the maintenance of your engine. This is why all the jet engines of the airplanes are provided with captors and sensors, and I don't know if you know what is the amount of information given each hour by an engine, of a jet engine. It's 40 terabits. 40 terabits by hour. That is to say, 20,000, the equivalence of 20,000 DVD, movie DVD, each hour. So, Pratt & Whitney is not able to treat this. They have created a joint venture with IBM, and it is, now, if you want to buy or to rent a jet engine, you don't go to Rolls-Royce or to Pratt & Whitney, you go to IBM. And this, the only company which has denied this model is General Electric, and each year General Electric invests $3 billion in developing software to treat all this data. You see, you have a technological change, but you have also a change of economic model. And this is true with the cars, with insurance, with all the domain of industry. Everything is going to change. So in this case, what is the role of the university? You have to ask yourself, have we to do? As you say, the first thing, the first remark is that university has no more the monopoly of education. New providers emerge, like private schools, corporate universities. For example, for corporate universities, in 2011, the number of corporate universities in the world, no, in the United States, I beg your pardon. In the United States, in 2011, the number of corporate universities is higher than the number of traditional universities. Various foundations, private and public vocational training center, and so on. New programs, more and more numerous, hybrid between universities and enterprises, are designed every year, but if the content of the program is important, much of the value added will not be the content. This is a very important thing for the future. For the students, which is important, is not the content, but what the content, what the degree, what the university gives you as opportunities for your life. This is different. As contents becomes ubiquitous, that is, you can find now what you want. And in each area, the world-leading universities or authorities becomes its provider. You can have Coursera, Udacity, edX, you have a lot of names of platform delivery, and you have, all of you, heard of massive open online courses, MOOCs, but you have also spooks, etc., etc. A lot of new way of teaching. For the majority of students who do not plan an academic career, and I remember the discussion we had this morning for the PhD. For this, the majority of the students, the curriculum can sometimes seem esoteric or irrelevant. Instead, it will be a matter of what university and its faculty built around the content. So, which is important is not only the knowledge, but what you offer around the knowledge. For example, Today, what it is important is to try to learn, to teach the students how to use MOOCs, how to prepare exams through MOOCs, how to... This is not done at this moment, and this is important. So, as you see, there is an enormous place for innovation. Another point which is important is the number of graduates in the world is growing up rapidly. By 2020, China alone will have 30% of all the university graduates in the world aged between 25 and 34. A consequence of this is that the value of a degree is falling, and the risk of unemployment among the graduates will grow up. All around the world, at the same time, there is high graduate unemployment and unfilled vacancies from some employers. This is funny. A lot of graduates and a lack of employment. That is to say that there is not enough adequation between all the majors and the future economical development. So, how can universities and new providers ensure education for employability? How does the entire learning system need to change to support alternative providers and the future of work? I am going to stop because I have no time, so it's, as we said in books, the following in next chapter.